If you're looking for a full summary of Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, you are in the right place. I don't know why you're here, but I'm glad that you are. Maybe you're on your Once Upon a Broken Heart journey. Maybe you are about to read the second or the third in the trilogy and you want a refresher on the first one. I don't know, but here's a full summary for you. I hope that you find it helpful. This is, of course, the trilogy that follows the Caraval trilogy. So maybe you need a refresher before you make your way all the way to the end of all of these books. Either way, doesn't matter. Glad that you're here. I will try to make this as brief as I possibly can, but there's kind of a lot that went on in this book. So I'm going to give you a pretty detailed summary. It's not going to contain every single detail. If you want the nitty gritty, you need to just go back and read this book. I'm assuming that most of you who've ended up in this video have already read this book and you are looking for a recap of everything that happened, or maybe this is your book club book and you haven't read it. Either way, the summary is going to give you enough details to where you can participate in some discussion and not feel like you are totally lost on the events that occurred in Once Upon a Broken Heart. Before we get started, don't forget to hit subscribe. I have a ton of other book summaries out there that may be helpful to you. I also do a lot of book-related conversations, discussions, reviews that contain spoilers and non-spoilers. This video, please be advised, has spoilers. I cannot do a summary video without spoilers. So here we go. Once Upon a Broken Heart opens with the doorbells chiming when a boy walks into Maximilian's Curiosities and Other Oddities shop. The girl with rose gold hair runs the shop, Maximilian's daughter, Evangeline Fox, who has fallen in love with the boy who has just entered. His name is Luke. Luke is about to be married to Evangeline's stepsister. Her name is Marisol. The stepsister appears to get along well with Evangeline. Evangeline believes that her stepsister wouldn't intentionally steal Luke in order to hurt her. She believes that her evil stepmother, Agnes, arranged it all. Evangeline and Luke were dating in secret, but she believes that the stepmom found out and cast a spell on Luke, as he will no longer speak to Evangeline ever since he got engaged to Marisol. Evangeline seeks out the lost door belonging to the Church of the Prince of Hearts. She finds it completely out of place. The door has relocated somehow. She wants to find the Prince of Hearts, who is a fate, in order to help her stop the wedding between Luke and Marisol. She enters the church, finds his statue, and prays to him to stop the wedding. The Prince of Hearts, his name is Jax, he can only kiss his one true love. Anyone else that kisses him will die instantly. Jax strikes a bargain with Evangeline. He agrees to stop the wedding in exchange for 3 kisses. He is not the one who plans to kiss her, but the deal specifies that Jax can choose who she has to kiss and when. He seals the deal by grazing his lips over her wrist and bites her. Not enough to draw blood, but to imprint 3 broken hearts on her wrist, 1 for each kiss. Evangeline runs to the wedding venue, the gazebo in the backyard of her home, and finds that Jax stopped the wedding by turning everyone to stone. Evangeline is horrified and decides that she needs to save the 9 people at the wedding. She can do this by drinking the poison from a goblet. Jax discourages her from doing this, but Evangeline drinks the poison. She hopes that someone will save her from her fate. Evangeline doesn't have any concept of time. The poison has turned her to stone as she took the place of the 9 folks at the wedding. 6 weeks pass, with her being a statue. She wakes up in a laboratory being treated by a handsome palace potions master, who is actually a fate named Poison. Evangeline wonders why no one is there to greet her. No sign of Luke, Agnes, her stepmother, or Marisol, her stepsister. Poison tells her that there are people waiting for her in another room in the palace and encourages her to go see them. Evangeline is greeted enthusiastically by a lot of people, which really surprises her. While she is well liked in her town, the amount of people who are present and thrilled to see her is staggering. The reason for the good turnout is due to Evangeline being portrayed as a hero. The story of her saving everyone at the wedding by sacrificing herself has spread through the town via the daily rumor articles. Evangeline feels undeserving of this praise as they have not been told the truth in that she started it all by making a deal with the fate. Evangeline has discovered that while she was stoned, the fates had returned. They were stuck in a deck of cards. Evangeline is surprised to be embraced by her stepmother, Agnes, who has never shown her any type of affection. Evangeline is also received warmly by Marisol, who has made a cake in honor of her return. At this point in the story, it is unclear as to whether Marisol is aware that Evangeline loves Luke. Evangeline believes that perhaps Marisol pursued Luke without being privy to their relationship. Marisol tells Evangeline that Luke and her attempted to marry again 2 weeks after the original wedding, while Evangeline was still stoned. But the second wedding also fails due to Luke being attacked by a wolf on the way to the wedding. Luke refuses to leave home as he is severely injured and tells Marisol that he is leaving town to seek a healer in order to restore his face, but that he loves her dearly. Marisol is saddened by this and becomes known as the cursed bride since 2 of her weddings were so very tragic. Evangeline is crushed by Luke and Marisol's attempt to marry again and starts to believe that Luke was not cursed as originally believed, and that he was just an unfaithful boy who fell in love with another girl. Evangeline is angry to find that Agnes has closed her beloved curiosity shop. Evangeline starts to run her father's other shop, a bookshop, instead. Agnes invites suitors to apply to wed Evangeline. Evangeline is angry about this, and when suitors show up at her home, she turns them all away by claiming that she is cursed. Any boy who kisses her will turn to stone. Evangeline finds a letter from Luke asking to meet her at the curiosity shop just after dawn the next day. Evangeline is filled with hope, but when he never shows up, she determines that the letter was old and that she just recently found it. Evangeline goes to Luke's home and sees that the whole family has vacated their home, proving Luke truly had left to seek treatment from a healer. Marisol comes to the bookshop to deliver a letter to Evangeline. She does this so that Agnes does not have a chance to intercept and throw the letter away. Evangeline discovers that she has been invited to meet the Empress and her sister, Princess Donatella. Evangeline travels to meet the 2 women and finds them both very charming and warms to them very quickly. The Empress came to power recently during the week that the Fates returned. The sisters fought off the Fates when they were released from the cards, and the sisters won. They asked if she would attend an event that they were invited to called Nocta Never Ending. This is an event in which Prince Apollo will select a bride. It is a ball that does not end until he selects a wife. They do not believe that it is wise for them to attend Nocta Never Ending after so quickly coming into this position of power, and Princess Donatella admits that she is avoiding a certain someone from the north. However, they cannot ignore the invitation. Their solution is to send an ambassador. They would like to extend this opportunity for Evangeline to be that ambassador. Evangeline accepts and asks if she can take Marisol with her. The sisters agree without resistance. Marisol and Evangeline make their way to the magnificent north via ship. Evangeline shares fairy tales about the north, which Marisol has never heard. When they arrive, they see little dragons all around. They are escorted to their quarters, and while the ball does not officially begin until the next day, they all gather to meet Prince Apollo for the very first time. Evangeline sees the handsome prince from afar, who is posing for a portrait. Evangeline makes a friend. Her name is Lala. Her new friend is beautiful. She admits that she doesn't believe that she has any chance of winning Apollo's heart, but she likes being part of the event. As Evangeline and Lala chat, Evangeline is informed of the rumor that Princess Donatella broke Jax's heart and that Jax is the one she is trying to avoid. Evangeline runs into Jax, who is a close friend of Apollo's. Jax appears different. His hair is blue instead of golden. Jax creates an intimate moment with Evangeline while there is an audience in an attempt to make Apollo jealous. Evangeline is confused as to why he would do this, but he says that he is making her job easier. We don't know the specifics of how it's done, but Jax can communicate with Evangeline through their minds, and they don't have to speak aloud. Jax opens a cut on his fingertip and smears his blood on Evangeline's lips, transferring his magic to her. He tells Evangeline that the first boy she has to kiss, of the 3 kisses that she owes him, is Prince Apollo, and she has to do it before the end of the night. If she does not kiss him before the end of the night, she dies. Evangeline suspects that if she kisses Prince Apollo, he will die. When Evangeline meets Apollo for the first time, Apollo tells her that Jax has commented on her beauty. Evangeline boldly kisses Apollo. At first, he seems to retreat before kissing her again with much more enthusiasm. Marisol and Evangeline take some time to explore the city. Evangeline and Marisol wait in line for dragon-roasted apples. Marisol asks Evangeline if she can leave her alone while she looks at a salt cart as she wants to purchase some spices. Evangeline is fine to separate and doesn't think much about it at the time. As Marisol and Evangeline are preparing themselves to attend the first night of Nocta Never Ending, Marisol shows Evangeline an article that was slipped under their door, which reads that Marisol is here to ruin Nocta Never Ending and she is the cursed bride. The paper accuses Marisol of being jealous of Evangeline and wanting to ruin her chances of marrying the prince. Marisol accidentally tears a flower off of Evangeline's dress. Evangeline begins to suspect that Marisol is trying to sabotage her, just like the paper said. Evangeline purposefully leaves her gloves in the room. Once Marisol and Evangeline are about to leave for Nocta Never Ending, Evangeline excuses herself to go retrieve her gloves. When she goes back to their room, she searches Marisol's room for anything that would incriminate her and prove the paper's rumor to be correct. She finds nothing except a recipe book from the city. Evangeline is full of guilt. Evangeline turns to find Marisol standing in the doorway asking why Evangeline is in her room. Evangeline pretends that she is looking for her gloves. Marisol has them in hand, stating that they were on the table in plain sight. The girls arrive to Nocta Neverending. Traditionally, the prince is supposed to dance with 5 ladies per night, but on the first night, he says that he is going to break tradition. He appears to approach Evangeline, but he selects another lady to dance with. Evangeline is embarrassed that she misread his intentions and walked away ashamed, but Apollo quickly follows her and proposes to her. She says yes. Historically, Nocta Neverending is said to have gone on for multiple days and or weeks while the prince decides who to choose for a bride. However, on this very first night of Nocta Neverending, Prince Apollo proposes to Evangeline, which shocks everyone. During the first night of Nocta Neverending, Evangeline sees Marisol chatting with Jax. Marisol likes Jax, and when she tells Evangeline about him, Evangeline discourages her from developing a relationship with him. She comes up with the excuse that she has heard bad things about Jax. Prince Apollo requests that Evangeline move in with him at Wolf Hall in order to keep her safe. He is paranoid that something will happen to his precious betrothed. He was concerned by her safety after what was printed in the papers about some ladies from the celebration harboring jealousy and resentment. Evangeline feels that something is not quite right with Apollo. While she craves the fairy tale love and happily ever after, she can't shake the feeling that something isn't quite right. Apollo showers Evangeline in over-the-top gifts, and Evangeline can't help but feel like Apollo's behavior is unsettling. It does not feel like love. It feels to Evangeline like an obsession. Fearing that Jax put a spell or curse on Apollo to make him fall in love with her, she determines to request a meeting with Jax so he can undo whatever it is that he did to Apollo. When she meets with Jax, they have a very brief conversation in which he tells Evangeline that Marisol is not her friend. Marisol is jealous of Evangeline. Evangeline dismisses Jax's comment as she does not want to further the doubts she already has about her stepsister. Jax then demands the second kiss of the 3 that she owes him. He wipes his blood on Evangeline's lips to be transferred to Fortuna once she kisses her. Jax and Evangeline go to the Storybook Castle to meet Lady Fortuna. Jax says that she has to kiss either the matriarch's hand or her cheek. Upon first meeting, the matriarch is unpleasant, and she is mad that Apollo chose Evangeline as a bride. As soon as Evangeline kisses Fortuna's cheek, her attitude changes abruptly, and suddenly she is very hospitable. Jax requests to visit the vault. Originally, Lady Fortuna resists, but she cannot fight the magic of Jax's kiss when Evangeline insists on a visit to the vault. Evangeline doesn't know what Jax wants or what lies within the vault, but she soon discovers that the matriarch is hiding the Valerie Arch inside the vault, something that was originally thought to have been destroyed. Jax has Evangeline ask Fortuna about the collection of stones. Fortuna says that she doesn't have any stones, and then abruptly has an epiphany. She looks at Evangeline and proclaims that the prophecy said that a woman, both peasant and princess, crowned in rose gold, will be the one to open the arch. This is a prophecy. It appears that the magic has worn off, and Fortuna goes to attack Evangeline and Jax. The matriarch ends up taking a hit to the head and ends up unconscious. Evangeline goes back to Wolf Hall in order to research the mysterious Valerie Arch. She finds nothing, but a librarian leads her to a door that will not open, but he says that all the books about the Valors lie behind the door, but that no one has been able to open the door since the age of Valors. Evangeline is desperate to learn more about the Valors. The night before their wedding, Apollo serenades Evangeline from the freezing courtyard below her balcony. Evangeline invites him up to her room. Apollo scales up the side of the building to get to her. He assumes that Evangeline wants to have sex with him, but she clarifies that she just wants to talk. She starts asking questions about the Valors. Apollo is knowledgeable on the 2 tales following the family, though it is undetermined as to which version is correct or if either of them are factual history or simply fairy tales. Apollo says that what is locked away beyond the arch is either a terrible creature created by the Valors or incredible wealth beyond imagination. Apollo states that the arch is locked by a prophecy. A series of events have to play out in order to unlock the prophecy that would grant entry into the arch. The prophecy states that the key resides with a woman, both peasant and princess, crowned in rose gold, and wrongly accused will be the one to open the arch. Evangeline is getting ready for her wedding to Apollo. At their wedding, Apollo's brother Tiberius interrupts Evangeline's first dance with Apollo. Evangeline asks Tiberius why he disappeared after her engagement to Apollo. Tiberius does not provide an explanation. The brothers fight, but Evangeline senses that Tiberius really does care deeply for his brother. After the wedding ceremony, Evangeline and Apollo retire to their room. Evangeline kisses Apollo and he dies. Evangeline believes that her kiss, laced with Jack's magic, is what killed Apollo. Evangeline cries and cries and cries. Jax finds her and is alarmed by the amount of tears that she has shed. He believes her to be poisoned. Evangeline is dying. She is about to cry herself to death. Jax races her to the home of a fate for an antidote. The fate who is able to cure Evangeline is none other than Lala, who Evangeline previously befriended, not knowing that she was a fate. Lala is known as the unwed bride. Evangeline takes the antidote and is held by Jax until she recovers. When she awakes, Jax informs her that neither of them are responsible for Apollo's death. He tells Evangeline that her kisses do not hold any magic and never did. It is Jax who is able to influence and control magic, though he is unable to command or control Evangeline for some reason. Lala says that her tears were used to poison Evangeline, but she doesn't know who wanted to poison Evangeline and who killed Apollo. Evangeline agrees to work with Jax in order to discover who the killer is and clear both of their names. Lala casually mentioned the history between Jax and the Empress's sister, Donatella. Jax declares that him and Evangeline are off to meet someone named Chaos, who Lala declares is a monster. Jax states that Chaos is useful, but he's also a vampire. Evangeline and Lala still remain good friends, even after Evangeline discovers that she is a fate. Lala dresses Evangeline to meet Chaos. When Jax and Evangeline meet Chaos, Evangeline is surprised to find that she has already encountered Chaos. She was under the impression that he was a soldier that she had seen while shopping with Marisol. When Chaos leads them to his lair, they are brought up to a balcony where they see a group of vampires bite a group of humans. The humans are contained in cages. Only some will escape and feed. If they do, they become full vampires. The remaining bite victims who do not escape to feed, we are led to believe, die. This is where Evangeline encounters her first love, Luke, who is secured in a cage after being bitten. He tells Evangeline that he was cursed, which is why he severed their relationship in favor of Marisol. He said that one day he all of a sudden desired and became obsessed with Marisol. He only sought out the vampires because they are supposed to heal, and Luke was mauled by a wolf, so he desperately wanted to restore the look of his features. Now that he is laced with vampire venom, whatever injuries he suffered to the face are now gone and his looks have been fully restored. Jax encourages Evangeline to ignore him and leave, but Evangeline can't do that. She grabs a sword and hands it to Luke so he can break out of his cage. He lunges for Evangeline, intending to bite her, but Jax steps in front of her in order to protect her. Luke bites Jax and Jax snaps Luke's neck. Though this doesn't kill him, Jax tells Evangeline that the only way to kill a vampire is to sever their head from their neck, which he does not do. Jax was infected with the vampire venom from Luke's bite. If he can't control his urges and ends up feeding, he will become a full-blown vampire. He expresses that he does not want this, so Evangeline locks him away in a mausoleum and attempts to distract him so that he is not focused on his urges. Jax shares his history with Donatella and how she stabbed him in the heart. Evangeline shares her story about Luke. Jax breaks through the bars and ends up face to face with Evangeline, though he is able to just barely control himself. Jax survives the night without biting Evangeline. He ends up exhausted and leans on Evangeline until she is able to get him somewhere he can rest. In his exhausted state, Jax admits that he wants Evangeline here and that he asked Poison to save her and suggested to his Empress that she send Evangeline to Knock to Never Ending. Evangeline is able to get Jax to his abode, where she reads a page from the Daily Rumor that announces Marisol's engagement to the new crown prince, Tiberius. The wedding is to happen the next day, and Apollo's body is allegedly missing. Jax is passed out, but Evangeline decides that she needs to solve this case before Marisol marries Tiberius. She believes that Marisol put a love spell on Tiberius. She begins her research in the library and stumbles upon a collection of Fortuna's fantastically flavored waters. Evangeline feels compelled to drink the vials. She drinks the curiosity bottle as well as the bottle of luck. Evangeline finds a book of spells disguised in a recipe book, the same one that she saw in Marisol's room. She uses the book to brew a truth serum, which is supposed to help Tiberius shake the love spell Marisol put on him. Jax is still passed out, but Evangeline decides to go back to Wolf Hall alone before time runs out. She makes it back to Wolf Hall and places the vial of serum on the table in Tiberius's room in hopes that he finds it and feels compelled to drink it. She runs into Marisol, who openly admits concern for Evangeline. She claims that she has been worried and hides her away in her room so that she is not discovered and arrested by the guards. Evangeline talks to Marisol, who discloses that she did a lot of things out of jealousy for Evangeline, though Marisol claims she did not put a love spell on Tiberius. However, she admits to putting a love spell on Luke. When questioned as to why she chose Luke, Marisol admits that she envied the way that Luke treated Evangeline and she wanted a boy to be kind and treat her the very same way. Since Marisol admitted to her atrocities, Evangeline feels inclined to share that she struck a deal with the Fate in order to stop their wedding. Marisol is horrified by this revelation, and she suddenly is no longer kind to Evangeline. She blames Evangeline for her reputation as the cursed bride when it was all Evangeline's meddling that caused it. She screams for the guards and tells them that Evangeline is there. Tiberius comes in and refers to Marisol as my heart. When Tiberius comes in, he notices Fortuna's fantastically flavored waters and comments that he hates them, although he feels compelled to drink it anyways. Now, a side effect of the serum is that the person who takes it is unable to lie. When Evangeline realizes this, she tells Tiberius to tell the guards that she is innocent and didn't kill Apollo. Tiberius confirms her innocence, and the potion leads him to divulge the truth, which is that he actually killed Apollo on accident. He didn't mean to. He meant to kill Evangeline, in an effort to prevent the prophecy from coming true and from releasing whatever monstrosity lays beyond the Valerie Arch. Evangeline is restored to princess status, though she starts to worry about Jax. She is unsure as to whether he's still passed out or if he is searching for her. She can hear him in her mind, and he says that he will come for her, though she argues that she is already going to him. Before she can leave Wolf Hall, she is intercepted by Havelock. Havelock, who is Apollo's personal guard, reveals that Apollo is actually not dead. Evangeline is introduced to Phaedra, who can steal secrets from the deceased, though she was able to tell that Apollo was not dead, as he had no secrets for her to see. It turns out that Apollo's life is suspended. Time does not pass for him. He could potentially stay like that for centuries and not age a day. Both Havelock and Phaedra escort Evangeline down to Apollo with the hopes that she can cure him and bring him back to life. Evangeline tries to kiss Apollo, but it does not cure him as she had hoped. Evangeline starts to piece the puzzle together and concludes that Jax is behind everything. He was the one that suspended Apollo so that Evangeline could become part of the prophecy that stated wrongly accused. She was already peasant and princess, and she already had the rose gold hair. Evangeline comes to see that Marisol didn't put a love spell on Tiberius. It was all Jax doing so that he could propel the prophecy forward and achieve the goal of opening Valerie Arch. We still don't know what lurks behind the arch, and we still are not privy to Jax's ultimate goal. Only that Jax has a large hand at manipulating everyone in order to achieve his ultimate goal. There you have it. That is Once Upon a Broken Heart in a nutshell. If you are on your Once Upon a Broken Heart journey, I hope the summary helped you recall all the events that occurred in the book, so that way you can move on without being totally confused. In the event you would like to read all of these Stephanie Garber books, I'm dropping a link below in the description so you can purchase your copies on Amazon. If this summary didn't quite do it for you and you want every minute little detail, buy yourself a copy. You deserve it. If you have stuck with me thus far, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. Don't forget to hit subscribe. I have a ton of content that I'm really excited to push, and I hope that you stick around. I hope that you're reading something great. I hope that you are only reading 5-star books. Let me know in the comments. I hope to catch you in another video. I hope that you are reading great books, and I will catch you on the flip side.